I'd greatly disagree. So I think one of the reasons why it's rare to contract measles in a waiting room is because measles is rare because we vaccinate. And the more kids who don't vaccinate themselves, the more cases of measles we're gonna have. So when you have this circular logic, it really hurts our ability to protect the whole community. We as pediatricians believe in something called herd or community immunity. And what that means is there are lots of people in this world who cannot be vaccinated. Little babies, kids who have compromised immune systems, just sick people in general. And so the way we protect those other people is by everyone else getting vaccinated, and then those diseases don't spread. When we have too many unvaccinated patients, all of those diseases break out and they start spreading and making these vulnerable populations sick. And that's really dangerous. And so the kid in my waiting room getting vaccinated, so I'm trying to vaccinate these kids for two reasons: to protect that child, but also to protect my community.
So when those children come in who don't vaccinate, it's all the more important for me to have them. I can work with that family. I'm eternally optimistic. I will take whatever precautions I have to take. But as a strong vaccinator, the way you get to herd immunity is by what? Getting people vaccinated. So the only way you do that is by working on those that need vaccinating and vaccinate those who are advocates or are accepting of vaccines.
And to make this conversation, to broaden it, I just want everyone watching to think about something that you said that is accurate. A lot of times babies are getting communicable illnesses that are preventable from the adults, pertussis being a great example, where adults don't even realize that they're no longer immune and they haven't even looked at their own vaccination history. So when you're dealing with a young baby, they by nature have they're in an immunocompromised state. And those are the ones that we have to protect. And I respect the heck out of both of you, and you guys can disagree, but both for valid reasons. Yeah, I think the biggest question before we go to break, and you two can shed light on it, you two can offer your opinions, but there's so much misinformation in medicine, and particularly in the world of pediatrics. Why? Because parents love their kids so much. And trust is essential, and not everyone has a physician they trust. With your patients, what do you think the greatest source of misinformation is that you two battle?
There's a ton of misinformation in social media. And the way we try to deal with this as pediatricians is these parents are being fed stories. These like false stories about, I had a friend who had a cousin who had whatever, who had a vaccine, and then whatever happened. And that really scares them, and they want to make the right decision for their kids so they don't vaccinate them. And the way I talk to parents is I share similar stories. I talk about the fact that both of my kids are completely vaccinated on time. Every doctor in my practice, all of their kids are completely vaccinated on time. And then I tell stories like the one we talked about before about the repercussions of having a lot of unvaccinated kids. And then we let the parents balance out who are they going to believe? The false information on the internet or their pediatrician? And hopefully we've established enough of a trusting relationship that they'll do the right thing.
So, and you're right. The misinformation comes from the social construct, and the social construct is also known as a family. So the misinformation comes from the family. The studies show that the information, who do they trust the most for real information? The studies show that it's the healthcare provider. So we have to fight that. And it's also interesting that the highest rate of vaccine refusal comes from the highest educated. You would almost think it's the other way around. The people that are the most educated would understand. But it is not that way. So when we are working with these families, and remember, the child is your patient. So as the healthcare provider, I provide the proper information to the family and say, okay, this is what you need to do, in a nice way.
Dr. Brooks, Dr. Ball, really appreciate you both being here, sharing your perspectives on this.